Hello my friends, I told you I would make this video about a personal ghost story I've experienced and that still gives me the creeps. I like not to think about it, that's why I do it during the daytime. You can see the light behind me and you see the lantern, and every time the lantern shows up it's getting spooky. So when the green screen comes I probably put gothic behind me, some gothic picture or a graveyard or something, you know. But this has to do for now. So yeah, while this ghost story that happened to me actually happened during the time when I was living in Louisiana. I was living in Delta, which is close to the Mississippi, and on the other side of the Old Man River is Vicksburg, in the state of Mississippi, as you probably know. And if you drive into Louisiana, you have about 16-17 miles, and then you get to Tallulah, and that's a country road, you know, forests and fields and not many people around, I tell you. So when I was living there, my cousin, who was my aunt's daughter, was my best friend, and we always liked to spook each other. And one time my aunt drove from Delta to Tallulah, and it was nighttime, and we were sitting actually in the back of the pickup, and we told us ghost stories, you know. And she told me that there was a man on this road that was killed years before that. Actually, his head was chopped off because so many cars drove over him before they realized that it was a man, not an animal or something. And when the police got there, the head was just, you know. So and after that, every year people call in and or see the headless man standing on the side of the road. Now, you know, as you know, that the Old South is a place of mystery and paranormal events, and when you get there you get kind of like drawn into all of this. I mean, when I arrived, my aunt told me about this house in Tallulah, or close to Tallulah, that the owner would pay everyone who would spend one night in that house $500 if they dare to sleep in that haunted house. Nobody did. I wouldn't either. But yeah, so you get like right away drawn into this, and it kind of like freaks you out if you're not from that area. They really love that. And but I like being spooked too, but that was a bit too close to home, you know, what I've experienced there. So one night, to tell a little bit of a fun story now, my cousin and I were sitting on the porch of my aunt's house, and I didn't know that my aunt was locking the door behind us. Didn't hear it because we told each other ghost stories. She told me, my cousin told me that there was a school, and at night time the furniture would move around, and ghosts would do that, and actually they would catch that on video camera, on surveillance cameras, and that she once spent the night with her other cousin and her brother, and that cousin's brother, so another cousin, and in that house the light went on and off. That's how it started. And then they've seen a ghost walk from the bathroom to the bedroom, and they called the police and left the house and were so scared. And we freaked each other out. And during that time while we did that, my aunt was sneaking around the house with a with a sheet over her head, and she jumped on that porch, and we were so freaked out, you know. I mean, it was dark, you know, bayou close by, you know, no other people, and we wanted to get into the house, and the door was locked, and we ran, you know, with full force against the door, and fell on our faces, you know. That crazy woman. Yeah. So, well, after that, I kind of like didn't want to be so freaked out anymore, so I forgot about the headless man. And then my uncle and I drove from Tallulah, from Delta to Tallulah, and I swear to God, there was a man standing on the side of the road without a head. Now, I must say, okay, I don't know, I have to put this a bit in perspective, because maybe it was an African American, and because of the color of his face and the darkness, maybe that's why it looked like that. But honestly, it looked like he didn't have a head. I saw the hands, but I didn't see the head. So I asked my uncle, did you see that? Did you see that person? Did he have a head? And he said, well, it didn't look like it, but, you know, maybe, like I said, you know, maybe it's the skin color and the darkness. So we kind of like put that off because we both were freaked out. And not long after that, I had a stress with my boyfriend, and I needed to walk it off, you know. I'm a person, if I have problems, I walk, you know. And I did then too, and I didn't want to walk the street because I was scared that I was be the one who was driven over, you know, and beheaded. So I decided to walk on the railroad tracks, which wasn't such a bright idea either, you know, to be honest. But I didn't, at that time, I didn't think about it, that a train maybe hit me. But I just walked, you know, down the railroad tracks. And a cousin of my aunt was worried about me, and he called the police so they should get me. And while I was walking on that railroad track for about half an hour or something, a police car stopped next to the railroad track, and the policeman got out, and I still see him with his white afro, and he said, "Girl, what are you doing on that railroad track? Don't you know that a train could hit you, you know? You want to kill yourself?" And I said, "No, I don't. I just want to think." I said, "Well, find another place to think, because that is dangerous. And you're not going to keep on doing that. So please get in the car, I'll drive you home. Where do you live?" And I told him, and I got in the car. And he said, "Why are you walking the railroad track? Seriously?" And I said, "Well, you know, I didn't want to walk the road because I didn't want to be killed like that man that's head was chopped off by cars." And I said, "Did that really happen?" And he said, "Yeah, that happened. It happened." And he was actually on duty that night. And he said that quite a few cars were driven over him, you know, and the head was really chopped off. And every night, he told me that, every night, when that day come, you know, every year on that night, that's how I have to put it, the phones are ringing like crazy with people telling the police that they see a headless man standing on the side of the road where that man was killed. And first I thought he was making a joke. And I said, "Really?" He said, "Yeah, honestly, every year on that night, people call in like crazy. They see that headless man stand on the side of the road." And he freaked me so much out, because if a policeman tells you that, you know, that is like, you know, my God, why do you tell me this? You know, I couldn't sleep anymore. I was so glad when we got back to LA, you know, because that was just, and because I knew I've seen a headless man, a ghost, standing on the side of the road. I knew it then, that was not an illusion or anything. I've seen that headless ghost. So, the Old South is beautiful. I really liked it. It was very mystical. It was very freaky, a little bit. Yeah, so everybody who wants to be spooked out, just go there, you know. I've just had enough for a while. It was really, really, really scary. And yes, I've seen a headless ghost. I'm sure of it. Don't be freaked out. Enjoy being scared, maybe. Well, it's easy for me to say, there's daylight, you know. So, take care.